Should Tinubu be disqualified as a presidential candidate?
Despite the failures, all these failures we've talked about that is quite very exhausting and annoying, a lot of people will still vote in leaders that are below par in 2023. I want you to talk to the psyche of an average Nigerian that sees evil and still continues to vote evil leadership and bad leadership at their own expense.
But if Ahmed Bola Tinubu cannot stand up and answer questions, very, very simple, direct questions, then he's not worthy to be on any tickets, to be frank, to be candid. To be candid, he's not worthy. And I think anybody who defends it, particularly those who know it is wrong and continue to defend it, it is so painful when you see some people you respect, some people you admire, for whatever reason, come out and make this spurious argument that, oh, it is, it is collegiate.
Should Tinubu be disqualified as a presidential candidate? Considering his outing at Chatham House, do you think Tinubu should be disqualified? You know, Chatham House has rather exposed the APC and their plans, since Tinubu went to this Chatham House, there have been so many reactions. In this video, I'll be showing you one of those reactions. And, people are doubting his capacity, his strength to handle the affairs of Nigeria. Considering his cognitive strength, considering his health, considering his age, and so many other controversies that are out there. So guys, I don't know what to think. I just want you to take your time, listen to this interview, and let me know what you think in the comment section. Do you think Bola Ahmed Tinubu should be disqualified? People are waking up. People are getting to understand that, honestly, Mr. Tinubu is not going to be in charge. Some of his supporters are now coming to terms that Mr. Tinubu will not be in charge if given this mandate. Honestly, Tinubu should be resting. Tinubu should be at a place where he will be taken good care of. He shouldn't be in this race. That is my own opinion. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, share it with your friends and families. Thank you.
DJ administration. There were a lot of initiatives by the president at that time, or what the ministers then were referring to, presidential initiative. I remember cassava very well and so many other things. But then the problem was that they didn't go all through the value chain. And so that policy, collapsed. And since then, particularly under this administration, if Governor Emefiele had not initiated the rice program aggressively, and other agricultural, policy that the central bank is funding, I'm not sure we will hear anything from this government. By the way, who is the Minister of Agriculture? How often do you hear the Minister of Agriculture talk of any agricultural initiative by this regime? So we are grateful to Governor Emefiele. Now take the members of the House of Assembly. It is their constituencies that the poor people live. As we speak today, Dr. Abati, have you heard anybody in the National Assembly make a pronouncement on the report you are referring to? But no, they will not. But they are quarreling with Emefiele for his, fiscal policies, or the policies that he's been enunciating in the past few days, And why are they doing that? Because that's the one they are more interested in. They are not interested in the poverty that they contribute to in so many ways by keeping their faces or their eyes out of the ball. They go to the same people, they ask for their votes, and once they are voted, what do? Nothing. And of course, perhaps the state governments are more guilty than the rest. They are in charge of agriculture. They are in charge of education. They are in charge of health. They are in charge of sanitation. They are in charge of providing water. Go and look at the data and let's see which of these states could say to anybody in this country, which of the governors in the country today could say to us, when I took over, agricultural growth in my state was 10%. But in the last 8 years of my administration, it is now 30%. If we can get that governor, I think we should give him a medal. But I doubt if we would. because that's not their business. Everybody, yes, the federal government is right. And we all know why this is happening. Everybody focuses on infrastructure. Because, by the way, you know, we all complain about the corruption here and there. The worst corruption in this country is in the infrastructural sector. You know, particularly, you know, when contracts on one project or the other is awarded by, you know, governments in this country. So when you begin to look at it from that way, you find out that everybody is virtually responsible and guilty for the ugly situation we find ourselves. And the last I will say on this, before your next question, since that report was released, I think if I'm correct, because I've seen you know, some comments on Twitter by Mr. Peter Obi. I don't think other presidential candidates have even cared to focus on it. I might be wrong, but I've seen Twitter messages, you know, by Mr. Peter Obi. So it just tells you how unserious we are in this country, that nobody cares about the poor. The poor can get poorer for all I know, but the leaders themselves are not focusing. And it calls to question the vision and the character and the person and their understanding of what governance is all about. It reminds me when I was in the university, Professor Billy Dudley, my mentor, used to ask this popular question: power for whom and for what? And I think that's part of the problem, that those who hold power today do not even understand what they're expected to do with that power. To take care, to provide succor, the well-being, the development of the people and the country, and not for themselves. Because as far as they are concerned, once they are okay, everything is okay. But you know what? It's an illusion, a big illusion.
All right. Ambassador Keshi, you talked about the different levels of government that you would hold responsible for poverty in Nigeria. And you've broken it down: federal government, state government, and then you talk about the people themselves. However, you didn't mention the local government, which is supposed to be the closest government to the people. And when we talk about I'd like to get your thoughts around the devolution of more powers to local government and what the consequent impact would be on the people and consequently on the prosperity levels of the people. Also, I'd like you to also speak to education, because I'd like you to tie that in with the local government and the state government. If we're talking about learning and learning poverty, we see education as a critical factor to either driving poverty or taking people out of poverty. I'd like you to speak to how the state governors have not performed in that area, or perhaps performed.
You're talking of local governments. Which local government are you talking about? The ones that have been completely emasculated by the governors? What funding do they have? They can't even do anything without the governor's approval. Number one. Number two, have you ever bothered to take a look at the persons, the character of those that are chairmen and councillors in all the local governments in this country? So look, just focus on the states and leave the local government, because they do not have the resources to start with.
But is that not the problem?
And they just do very little.
Is that not the problem itself?
Wait, I'm coming, please. Wait, I'm coming. No, that leads me to your second question. And that's my greatest concern over this whole question of devolution of more powers. You know, I actually, you know, one day I wake up, I support it. The other day, I have serious questions within me from what I have seen all over this country. You were trying to devolve more powers to a group that do not have the capacity. The first powers you gave them, the bulk of the responsibility they are handling now, they are not doing well. And you are giving them more powers, and you are not giving them more resources. So that's a big question. And so look, let's put emotion aside. Let's get everything aside. They have responsibility for health, education, and the rest of it. They do not have the resources, they do not have the capacity. And you are saying, let's give them more powers, and we are not building that capacity. We are not building up, you know, we're not giving them enough resources. So we have, again, this is where this is also where the problem lies. If we can give resources to the local governments and they have the capacity to be able to provide the leadership to drive this process, that would be very helpful. But until that is done, you can blame the local government as much as you like. But the truth of the matter is that as long as they are emasculated, as long as they do not have the capacity, the freedom to behave like a government, you can actually compare the Nigerian local government system to what operates in other democracies. And you see the vast difference. Others have the power to run their localities. In this country, they do not have that powers at all. So you look, some of them can't even pay teachers because they run primary school. They can't even pay teachers. They depend on the federal, they depend on the state government to do it for them. So maybe we should just sit down and take a look at the whole system and break it down in a way and manner that we can begin to look for serious solution on how to address this whole issue. We need to address the issue of leadership, the ability to perform, and then we can begin to take care of the other problems.
The shocking thing is, despite the failures, all these failures we've talked about that is quite very exhausting and annoying, a lot of people will still vote in leaders that are below par in 2023. I want you to talk to the psyche of an average Nigerian that sees evil and still continues to vote evil leadership and bad leadership at their own expense.
That speaks to what I said earlier, that we the people are also responsible. Poor youths that have no job yesterday have been employed by some political parties, to be part of the campaign. What are they teaching them to do? They are teaching them to use the internet to tell lies, to spread falsehood, to put up crazy pictures of their opponents and things like that. And so those are the people you call leaders of tomorrow. The current generation of leaders is training future leaders to be liars because they are poor and they can be used and expanded. In other words, we are weaponizing poverty more and more in this country. And I repeat what I said before, Rufai. That report came out more than 3 or 4 weeks ago. No presidential candidate, and I think I repeat, if I can be corrected, no presidential candidate has spoken about that report. No member of the House of Assembly that represents these same poor people has spoken to that report. Instead, they are quarreling, fighting only in the areas that is of interest to them. They need money, they need it big time for their re-election. And the fact that Emefiele's regime is depriving them of that, it's war. But the poverty of their own people, the people who elected them, they care very little about it. So what do you expect the poor youths to do? They need to survive. And so, look, Rufai, I think if I have not said it on this station, I've said it before. If you see me on the street and you say to me, go and destroy or go and burn down that building, first of all, I'll look at myself. If I have no idea of where my meal is coming from today, and I'm not guaranteed of a meal tomorrow, even for 1, 2, 3, 4,000, I'll go and burn down that building. But if I'm gainfully employed and I'm going to work, and I know that at the end of the year, at the end of the month, I'll be paid and I can survive, certainly I will tell the guy, you are crazy. But in a situation where I have no idea where my next meal is coming from, and somebody comes and offers me a job, any type of job at all, why do you think it's easy to recruit people to do evil in this country? Go around this country, Rufai. Go around this country, Rufai. You can, in almost every state of this country, you actually can raise 1,000 people from anywhere to help you do whatever you want to do.
Ambassador Keshi, we have very limited time left, so very briefly, 2 questions. One is, you talked about the local government, how to develop capacity. How do we develop capacity at the local government level, considering the fact that most of the people who become local government chairmen or local government councillors, they are either retired thugs or area boys of the sitting governors. How do we develop that capacity if we don't address the leadership recruitment process? Then secondly, on the foreign policy front, foreign relations front, which is your major constituency, there has been some talk this week about Chatham House and the appearance of the APC presidential candidate there. What do you think of that? Do you think it's standard practice in an international forum like that for questions to be allocated, to be shared, to be distributed? You know the rest of the details already in the public domain.
Ruben, I just watched on my way here a clips by Mr. Macaroni, and I think, he graphically demonstrated the level that we have descended in terms of leadership in this country. What I find strange about what happened in Chatham House, really, is not what happened in Chatham House, but the quality, the high caliber of intelligent people that are defending what happened there. And as almost everybody has said, when you are going to an interview, you do not carry a whole chunk of experts to help you answer your questions. We are not going to recruit, we are not recruiting El-Rufai. We are not recruiting Wole Edu, and we are not recruiting the women leader. We are preparing to recruit if we decide to, if he passes the examination. We are preparing to employ Ahmed Bola Tinubu. But if Ahmed Bola Tinubu cannot stand up and answer questions, very, very simple, direct questions, then he's not worthy to be on any tickets, to be frank, to be candid. To be candid, he's not worthy. And I think anybody who defends it, particularly those who know it is wrong and continue to defend it, it is so painful when you see some people you respect, some people you admire, for whatever reason, come out and make this spurious argument that, it is, it is collegiate. It is the same thing you hear when they defend Tinubu, that he knows how to discover talent. Listen, I don't know, I think it's an insult to people like Professor Shibajo when you say that he was discovered. He was already a professor of law. He was already a son before he joined the administration of Bola Tinubu. You discover talents when they are young. Go and look at what the football coaches do when they discover talent, So you don't become Mungo Park that discovered the River Niger because no. But on your other issue, in terms of, local government, that is the real problem, Ruben. In 1999, good people with good ideas and brains, were reluctant to go into politics. And so the vacuum was filled by the people you described. The problem today is that they are so entrenched, completely entrenched, that it is difficult to dislodge them. But my take is we just got to continue to try to get them out one way or the other. It is going to be a long struggle because every year an outgoing governor make sure that the same people, are taken over by his successor and they become the new the kids on the blocks. So we just must find a way. The answer to your question is very simple. And good people who believe they have ideas should go and start from the local government, and that might just be the way out.
Okay.
Thank you.